Today we're in Derbyshire. We're going to a place called Kedleston Hall, and this place was built in the mid 1700s in a neoclassical style, and it's a place very much associated with the designer Robert Adam, and looks a nice big place, so it should be interesting. Through this big lodge building to enter. I think this is called the North Lodge. I think it opens in about 10 minutes. So. Nice avenue to drive down towards the house. Looks a nice big estate. Yeah, like I was saying, I think this current house was built in around the 1760s. We'll go into more detail in a bit, but there was at least one former house on the site, and it's the Curzon family who have lived here for apparently since about the 12th or 13th centuries. And I believe that members of the family still live in one wing of the house. So we'll have a little look. Have to watch out for some livestock a bit further on down here, near the bridge. These cattle will obviously be used to visitors driving through here. So we can see there's sort of a classical bridge in front, and then on the left you'll see the house coming into view, or the hall. There's a baby calf in the middle of the road. We'll slow right down. Okay. Good one. Nice. Well done. And over the bridge. A bit more livestock here. Okay, sheepy, can I come past? Yeah, good lad. Parking is straight ahead, apparently. You can see the house with the sun behind it, I think. So this is the first look at the house, and this doesn't open for a couple of hours, but the first impressions of the place are really good. So first of all, because the house doesn't open for a couple of hours, we're going to go and have a look at the 3-arched bridge down there, and then there's also something else called the fishing room a bit further on down, so we'll have a look at those first. If we can get past the sheep without getting attacked. While we're on the way down there, we'll just see what this little thing is in the middle of the field. Some kind of construction. Some kind of spring or well or something. Looks like there is some sort of slightly worn away face on the front down there. An interesting little thing. You can see the house behind it. So we're on the way to the bridge now. Okay, so we're coming up to the 3-arched bridge now, and this was by Robert Adam, who was a famous architect in the 1700s, and he's most associated with neoclassical style. And Robert Adams has got his fingerprints all over the designs for the house and the grounds and gardens here. As you'll be able to see, there's a cascade that runs underneath the bridge and drops down to the pool below. This bridge was completed around 1771, and it was originally planned to only have one large arch, but in the end it was changed to have 3 arches, as we've seen already. If you have a look around, the side of this lake in the distance on the left, you can see what's known as the fishing room, where we'll be going soon. And it was a sort of a boathouse, but with a room above and stuff like that, so we'll have a look in a minute. It's also worth noting that this bridge is Grade 1 listed, along with quite a few other features in the park and other places. And as you can see, this is in like a classical style. So yeah, next we'll be heading to the fishing room over there. If you can get past all the ducks and geese or whatever, you can hear them. I'll probably walk around the long way. They seem to be making way for me at the moment, or maybe they just fancy a swim. Yeah, that's the what's known as the fishing room over there beyond. And you can see again, that's in the old neoclassical style. So this is the fishing room, and again this was designed by Robert Adam. This was completed around 1770 to 1772. And as I've already mentioned, this is in the neoclassical style. As you saw from the other side, it backs onto the lake. As I expected, you can't actually get inside, it's locked. But inside there's a picnic room, and then below there's like a plunge pool and a boathouse. So you can imagine you could come over here in the day and you could bring all your food and whatever and could pop out on the boat. And with it being called the fishing room as well, it was said that you could sort of drop your fishing line out to the back windows and do a bit of fishing from actually inside this building. And if we could see inside, which we can't, you'd see that the decoration inside's all sort of a maritime theme and fishes and stuff like that. Further on down from the fishing room, there's another cascade, as we'll see here. And here from the banks of this lake you can get a decent view of the fishing room from the bottom end. And again you can see the house in the far distance, probably nestled in the trees, in the tree line. But yeah, here's the fishing room. And if you look at the two arches at the bottom on either side, you can see where they sort of would have launched the boats from down there. So they could have had a nice little row out on the lake and then go back inside up to the picnic room at the top and have some nice food in the afternoon or whatever. And if they wanted, they could go in the cold bath or plunge pool, whichever way you want to call it. So yeah, that'd be quite pleasant. This building we're coming up to now, this is called the North Lodge, and this is one of the main entrances to the estate, and this is the one that I drove through right at the start of the video. And I've just walked back from where the bridge is. It's probably about a mile up here, and probably should have just parked the car earlier on the way in. But yeah, I really wanted to have a look at this, so I've had to walk back up. So yeah, this is the North Lodge, and this is in the form of a triumphal arch. And again, this was by Robert Adam in the neoclassical style. You might be able to just see inside. So like I say, this is in the form of a triumphal arch, and this was completed about 1761, and this is also Grade 1 listed. And the iron gates, the black iron gates there, they're all original. So yeah, time to have a walk back down into the main park again. I think the house will be open in about half an hour. There's an interesting bench up here. It looks to be in the shape of a dragonfly. Here we are heading down back towards the bridge and stuff. And on the right hand side we've got the old favourite trees, the cedar of Lebanon, 2 there. The livestock relaxing there. And then back across Adams Bridge. So this is Kedleston Hall, and this was built between 1759 and 1765. This, the north front, is Palladian in character, and it features a 6-columned Corinthian portico. Robert Adam was in charge of the construction of the hall, and it was built for Nathaniel Curzon as a house to rival the likes of Chatsworth. As the house is so large and in large parts a showpiece, the family actually lived in a private family wing, which is to the left here, and they actually still do. The wing on the opposite side was actually for servants and staff and kitchens and similar. And this north front is actually 107 metres long. And the main central block was actually for the staterooms, for the rooms where they'd show off, etc. Look at the detail on the ceiling now, if you can see it. We've also got various statuary out the front here. There's a little restaurant down to the left in the west wing. So this is the marble hall. Yeah, so we've got 20 alabaster fluted columns around the room. And on the floor, it's stone inlaid with marble, as you can see down here. And the stucco or plaster on the ceiling was by a celebrated stuccoist known as Joseph Rose, and he worked alongside Robert Adam a fair bit. The plaster above the fireplace there, that was also by Joseph Rose, and the fire basket in the fireplace, that was by Robert Adam.
House that they had on the site at that time no longer meant needs or people of their secret, I would say, and it meant that the land that they owned and tenanted in 4 different counties, Derbyshire, Leicestershire, Staffordshire, and we're talking 1758 money, 7,000 living rents of
And then this next room, I believe, is called the saloon. Look at that for a down. And the saloon is apparently 43 feet wide. And it's 62 feet up to the top of the dome. And in these recesses at the side, these are actually stoves disguised as pedestals for these urns at the top. And these columns, or are they pilasters, next to the doors, these are made of scagliola. And the paintings or panels on the wall, those are depicting scenes from ancient Rome and such like. This next room is going to be the library. This desk was built in 1764. This Doric door case was also by Robert Adam. We're now going into the drawing room. Lovely chandelier.
not typical. I just see what you see most of them, but that is, they are Dutch masters.
So this is the music room, and the nice ceiling would have been designed by Adam and then carried out again by Joseph Rose, one of his trusted plasterers or stuccoists. As you can see, there's an organ and piano. A lot of these paintings are apparently fixed into the wall with plasterwork frames.
A family who lived there called the Leake family, L-E-A-K-E, who were very, very strong Stuart supporters.
That's the south front of the house, that we'll be seeing shortly. I think we're passing through the marble hall again now, the other end.
But it's the accuracy, because as a housekeeper, nobody sees it. And it's covered up, and it's not in the portrait, but they wanted it to be covered up. But the other thing they've done is they offer life membership.
Lovely colours in the ceiling here. And this is the dining room, as you can probably tell. Some family silver there. In the apse here, they're actually curved tables designed by Robert Adam in 1762. And also a very large wine cooler. Very impressive. Sicilian jasper. Oh, very nice. Look at that. You don't see these in a lot of country houses. Interesting set of shelves there in Japanese style.
all that.
This is the state bedroom.
So she did very well for herself.
Oh, she might be worth reading up about. Mary Curzon. Yes. You know the Mary Curzon?
Yes, Mary Curzon. Yeah. So
This is the state bed.
You'll probably find more about her under Mary Sackville.
No, exactly. You've got the notebook, haven't you?
The bedposts represent palm tree trunks with foliage at the top.
Yes, no, I don't know the house very well. So, look back up quite easily. Yeah. I don't know how big these are. Submarine.
Yeah, they worked out what the pattern was.
Is this the pure silk or the silk and wool?
In the apartment here, it's pure silk.
Right. So expensive. I started, my first job was in a hand-built silk printing factory in the marshes in Kent. And the factory was actually founded by French people. They had a connection with the weaving mills.
This arch is gorgeous now. So this was the dressing room and the ante room. Interesting shaped ceiling there. Well, interesting shaped room actually. Time to go back downstairs. This is an Indian museum. Yeah, so one of the Curzon family had served as Viceroy of India from 1899 to 1905, and during that time he collected a lot of artefacts and brought them back to England. And in the house is this little museum with some of the bits he brought back. A lot of intricate work in here. And I think we're back to the beginning now. I think we're going to have a look at the 13th century church now, which is right next to the house. Yeah, so you might be wondering why there's a 13th century church right next to the house, which was built in the mid 1700s. Basically what happened is, when they wanted to build the new house, the medieval village of Kedleston used to be in this area. So when they built the house and they wanted the grounds for pleasure and whatever, they actually demolished the old village of Kedleston, and the only thing that remained was this church. So that's why you've got this very old church next to the 18th century house. A bit of what looks like Latin stonework at the top there. The doorway is quite interesting. Some old and weathered stonework. Looks like some types of horses or something here. More modern door here from 1613. Still very old, as you can see.
Yes, I think But it's the Church's Preservation Trust.
Lots of memorials to the Curzon family now, who actually lived in the area for apparently back to about the 13th century themselves, or even later than that. Look at this. That is a work of art. Okay, so that was the church. I think I'm going to try and get to the rear of the house soon. So this is the way to the shop and the garden. Okay, so now we're going to the south side of the house. And we're going to see what features we can find in the gardens and grounds soon. Just have a quick look at the back of the house now. Yeah, so this is the south front of the house. Nice little stairway leading up there. Yeah, so another neoclassical design, and parts of that central block are apparently modelled on the Arch of Constantine in Rome. Let's have a look up these stairs. We've got various urns with classical designs on. And you can see the parkland beyond. You know, more depictions of ancient Rome and stuff like that. So in the gardens here, we've got a Medici lion carved by Joseph Wilton. Lovely detail. Here in the garden we've got what looks like a very slightly sunken garden. If we go down, and at one end there's a hexagonal summer house, and it's got a domed lead roof. It's also topped by some little urns by the look of it. I think it's actually locked at the moment, so can't go in, but might be able to see through the window. Not much to see in there really. And this was originally built around 1775, most probably by someone called George Richardson. And interestingly, it was moved to this position here from a slightly different position during the 1920s. And then again, we've got a similar story with this Grade 2 orangery up ahead of us here. This was built around 1800, and this was also moved in the 1920s when there was a new garden plan. But unfortunately it doesn't get much sun now, so they can't really grow fruit and stuff in it anymore. Now we're going for a bit of a walk into the parkland to find another feature or two. Very interesting, grand looking gate piers here. Nice. Bit weathered, but still look good. I suppose those gates were to officially welcome you into the park and onto this walk. I think this walk, this was even designed by Robert Adam to give visitors back in the day a nice walk around the park, where he'd have different sort of features, or as they called them, incidents, things to look at as you walked around the park. So that's the path that we're on now. Oh look, found a ha-ha ditch. So these were basically to keep the livestock from getting into areas where you didn't want them to get into, but without building a fence, so it looked ugly from where you were. There's actually one on both sides of this path. Yeah, so the grazing cattle and stuff would be able to be off the path over there, and you could walk in peace on this garden walk. Okay, so up here, this little building with a thatched roof. This is called the Hermitage, and I think this would have been one of the original little follies on the walk, and this has been recently restored. And these hermitages are quite interesting, because although this one here apparently would have just been used as for refreshments while people were on the walk, which could be up to about 3 miles, in some parks where they built hermitages, some of the owners actually employed people to act as hermits in them. So when they had visitors to the estates, the people had come across what were supposedly hermits out in the park living in these little things. But obviously they were just actors. Yeah, so that's Kedleston's Hermitage, restored in recent times. And if you watched my Hawkstone Park video from about a month or so ago, they had a hermitage as well, but the owner of that park back in the day did actually employ someone to act as a hermit in it. So yeah, they're quite interesting little buildings that do pop up on some estates. Okay, so when you're on the long walk, you've been gaining ground and you can see the south front of the house come into view from a distance, with the parkland in front of it. It should be down there in the middle. You can see sheep grazing in the park. Here we go, zoomed it in a little bit. So the main things to see on the long walk these days really is the hermitage and then the views of the house from the distance. But when it was originally created in the 1700s, there would have been various things to see on your way around the walk, but those type of things, they just get lost to time a lot of the time when they're out in the woods and stuff like that. So next to the west wing of the house there's what I'm guessing is the stable blocks and stuff like that. I think this wicker horse probably gives it away. There we go. Probably somewhere to store your carriages, etc. And then for some reason I've got a Subaru Impreza rally car here. Which is interesting. I have no idea why it's here, but fair enough. And then in one of these buildings here, I think there's a second-hand bookshop, so have a quick look now. Now, a lot of people probably walk past this and don't notice it, but this marble statue down here actually represents a young poet who committed suicide, and his name was Thomas Chatterton. And he committed suicide after attempting to pass off his own work as by an imaginary 15th century monk. And apparently his story inspired Wordsworth. So there's a little interesting thing for you. What's this little pavilion thing here? Ah. So the hooks on the ceiling. This might have been like a game larder for hanging the game after it had been hunted or whatever. And this is pretty much right next to the house. I think Lime Park also have a game larder like this near to the house. Very good quality toilets here, by the way. So yeah, that was Kedleston Hall in Derbyshire, and yeah, it's a very impressive place, to be honest. And yeah, if you're into Robert Adam and neoclassical architecture, it is one of the best places to come really in the country, because he was heavily involved with the design of the house, the interior and the grounds, so you have to come really if you're into Robert Adam. So yeah, I'd recommend a visit. So thanks a lot for watching, really appreciate it as usual, and I shall see you next time.